Okay. Hi, this is Gregor from Paradise Lost, and you're listening to What's Metal.
Right, okay, so let's start with the obvious stuff first. You changed labels again, so you're now with Century Media, German label. So how did that work out?
Well, when we were on Sony BMG, Gun BMG, we were released in America and in England through Century Media. So when the deal came up with Gun, so there were no more albums to do, Century Media asked to do the whole thing rather than just America and England. Did we want a worldwide thing? And offered us a good deal, so we couldn't turn it down. And the guys there know us anyway, kind of thing. So and are familiar with us. So it's probably going to be quite easy to work with them, I would imagine.
Yeah. Probably you can tell us a bit about the upcoming recording sessions and new songs. What can we expect?
Well, years and years ago, I used to like listen to a lot of church music, and some of those things eventually made my guitar style seem quite church-like sometimes, especially on Icon. And on this record, we're kind of really going to town on the atmospherics of guitars. It's going to be very kind of... there's going to be some extremely, can I say, even brutal parts, and then there's going to be some really, really laid-back melodic parts. But and there's some very different songwriting on this record, because we feel like we've kind of done the chorus, bridge, verse thing as much as we want to, and that's got its place in music, but we wanted to try and push the boundaries of songwriting, so we're trying lots of different things with the structure of songs as well.
So maybe I pick up on one old thing that I remember from some interview that you did in like 93, 94 or something. It was basically Nick saying that he was dropping death grunts or growls because he had to put so much pressure into his voice that the tiny veins in his eyes were starting to burst. Is that really true? Yeah.
That's really true, but that was not really 90. That was before we did Shades of God. That was kind of gothic era, and maybe into touring on Shades of God. Because he was doing that thing where it was like he wanted to be as guttural as possible, like as deep and as gruff as possible around the time. Well, from when we started, from the first demos right up until Gothic and maybe some of Shades of God, he was doing that, and he was just like putting so much into it. Yeah, he used to have just like red eye,
wow.
Like because the things would go, and I think he just thought, we've done that for 2 albums and demos, and maybe we should try and put a bit of melody in there, and that was his idea, to put some more melody into it, and from that we just went on this direction, so.
Okay, interesting. So a band that is around for such a long time, like 17 years now, and with such a tremendous success, are you every now and then approached by younger bands from your area, and that they ask you for advice, what they should do to get a good start of their career, like how to handle contracts, all these kind of technical or like management things?
Well, we didn't used to, but since MySpace came along, it's kind of, you do get a lot of people asking certain advice, and I can give my impression about things, my view on things, but advice is in the music scene is not something you can really give, I don't think, because it's different for everyone. Everything's different for everyone, it's down to individual tastes, it's down to lots of different factors, and like management things and business things, I've never been interested in that, never been any good at it. So I guess we've been lucky that we haven't been completely ripped off so far. Unless we have been, I don't know. So, it's full of sharks, the music business, but so is every business, we just play the music that we like and kind of enjoy the fact that we're still doing something that we really like and that other people seem to wait for and like as well, so that's good.
So when you look back at these 17 years, what would you think was the biggest obstacle in the history of the band?
Obstacle? I'd say probably the post-host backlash, which hit mostly me for some reason. I don't know why, especially out of the band, because everyone agreed to that, kind of let's try this thing. I mean, it was my idea initially, but Nick went with it, everyone went with it, and I stand by Host. I'd do the same thing again, because I think it's a good album, good songwriting. I don't have a problem with it. The production maybe could be slightly different, but everything could be different in hindsight. So I think that was a hard thing to kind of deal with, and also I'd say another, probably the biggest time when we nearly split up as a band was at the end of the Draconian Times touring schedule, which is why we tried to change sound slightly, because we were just like, we can't do this anymore like this. It's just boring.
Okay, so then, one interesting thing that I found on your homepage is that there is a documentary in preparation on Gothic metal, history of Gothic metal, and Paradise Lost plays a central role in that. So probably you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it's a guy who's a filmmaker in LA who he's already. I mean, his last documentary was about Armenia, the Armenian blockade and things, and he approached us and asked. He said he wanted to make a documentary about. He initially wanted to call it Paradise Lost, the creating of a genre or something like Gothic metal, and we said that sounds too pompous. We'll do it, but it's got to include like statements from other bands and So I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the trailer, but apparently it's quite good, and it's kind of, he followed us around Mexico, South America, Greece, various other places around the world, and filmed things, and it's just going to be like how we started out, how we kind of accidentally created a subgenre, how other bands were influenced, and how we were influenced, and how the whole thing came together. So we think that's more interesting than just saying, "Hey, look, we created something, copy that," because no one's really interested in that.
Okay, so final question for tonight. Our show is called What's Metal? So what do you think is metal? Is it just kind of music? Can it be some kind of lifestyle or whatever?
Well, for me, I actually came from the punk and gothic scene initially. So when I met Nick, he was metal, and he introduced me to metal, and I introduced him to the other side, and that's how we got into it. And I would say that metal for me is no different from what it was in punk or gothic music, and that's attitude. I don't like slick stuff. I don't like slick music. I like things to be something a little bit on the edge, something a little bit different. Something that's makes people challenge themselves a little bit, and I think that's metal to me.